Welcome to Resolutions, a podcast about dispute resolution and prevention. This podcast is a project for the American Bar Association section of dispute resolution to increase the avenues we can connect. The host is an interlocutor engaged in conversations with members of the dispute resolution community about topics of interest in the field. My name is Juliana Rigato-Piekarski, and I'm your host this week. Today, I'm sitting with Ms. Ashley Kendrick and Sunnita Blount to discuss the meaning of belonging in this dispute resolution profession. We will discuss questions as, what does belonging mean to you as a neutral practitioner? Where do you believe you belong in your career path, and how long took you to achieve it? Welcome, Ms. Ashley Kendrick. Ms. Ashley Kendrick is a general practice attorney with more than 15 years of experience as a case manager and real estate broker, trained in alternative dispute resolution and mediation from the University of California, Berkeley. She is the owner of a membership for professional women called Balance Her Hustle. At balanceherhustle.com, you can find out more about her on LinkedIn or Instagram at Miss Ashley Esquire. Sunnita Blount is a sport entertainment and business attorney trained in alternative dispute resolution through mediator training program at Atlanta's John Marshall Law School. She's from Chicago, Illinois, but now calls Atlanta, Georgia home. Attorney Blount is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., Vice Chair of Events for Women in Music Atlanta, Black Sport Professionals Atlanta member, BISLA Young Lawyers Division, and a public speaker. Welcome, ladies. How are you today? And if you would like to add something else to your introduction, please feel free to do it.
Well,
Hi.
Go ahead, Sunnita.
Hi. How are you ladies doing today? And no, I think you pretty much summed up everything for my introduction. And I am happy to be here and to discuss these topics with you guys.
Beautiful.
And Juliana, thank you so much for a warm introduction. And thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your show. And I would say the same. You did a great job of highlighting some key points in our career. And thank you.
It's my privilege. So let's do it. So the next question is, what does belonging mean to you as a neutral practitioner?
I guess I'll go ahead and start. Belonging for me is a positive interaction. It's a feeling of being happy, being comfortable, being included. It also includes sincere, interpersonal connections, avoid negative exchanges and negative experiences, something comfortable, something that also has a feeling of welcome, supported. And then when I thought about it, also feeling known. And I felt like that was a big key word of belonging, of feeling known. And I know we'll probably dive more into unrattling and unwrapping what that means, but feeling known is probably the key point that helps define belonging for me.
So what I'm listening is under your point of view is also a mental state, correct? And what do you think about Sunnita?
For me, belonging means, I feel like it means to me that I'm a part of this based on my knowledge and skill set. And those are the only things that should matter when assessing my qualifications, to be a neutral and not being judged on any other surface of criteria.
And this judgment, for example, like from where do you believe come from? From the other peers, from the client, from, for example, from the roster, which will take in consideration is ongoing effort for the rosters they be more diverse, inclusive, and also offer equity and belonging to the dispute resolution professionals? What do you?
I actually think it's all of the above that you mentioned. And like you said about the roster as far as being diverse and having equity and inclusion, I think that's a good point that you bring up, because I see a lot of my peers have had to venture out on their own and either add on mediation to their practice or work for a private mediation company or start their own mediation practice separate from their law practice. And so I feel like the judgment is from all of the above. We're a lot of the times judged based on stereotypical factors instead of our knowledge and skill set and ability to complete the job.
I hear you. Yes. And what do you think, Ms. Ashley?
I would say, as far as mediation and feeling belonging as a practitioner, I would, when I thought about it, I think it's twofold, and I'll explain to you how. I think as a mediator, as a practitioner, and feeling feeling the sense of belonging. I think what's important is, when I mention known, is to identify the differences, but respect the differences, right? And embrace the differences, and not make the differences, not setting the standard on what you feel the majority is, but understanding that the differences and feeling of belonging also includes, it also embraces the differences as individuals. So as a practitioner, within the community of other mediators in the ADR community, just understanding too, as a practitioner that maybe comes from a diverse background, we bring a unique voice, a unique experience, not only within the community and the industry, but also for our clients as well. And as important as it is for us to feel the sense of belonging, of course, we all know as mediators, it's our job to bring the sense of belonging for our clients. And so, when they select a mediator, a lot of the times, it's based off of who you feel can identify, you can identify with as individuals, right, together. And who do you think will be the best person for the job based off of their experience? And so even for our clients, it's important that they feel that sense of belonging and understanding that they're going to be understood and heard, because we all share something in common. And sometimes it might be we all, are from the same area, or maybe we're all from, or maybe we all share a similar background. Maybe we all share the same ethnicity or nationality. So I think all those are key points in talking about belonging. And for me, as I said before, the word is feeling known. And when you feel known, you could also you feel more valued because you felt heard. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's interesting, because sometimes to acknowledge a word and feel known, we need experience. And as a mentor for the topics that involve in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, I always had a hard time to explain my mentees what means belonging until I really feel the belonging and experience that known that we are speaking here. And that leads to our next question, that where do you believe you belong in your career path, and how long took you to achieve it? Volunteers, raise your hands like in the school.
I'll go first, since Miss Ashley went first. For the first question. I think I'm right where I am in my path, because my path is mine individually. And it's taken me a while, although I'm still considered a newer attorney and practitioner. It still has been a journey for me since graduating law school, because I came out of law school, during a downturn in the economy, but I feel like it's always a downturn in the economy since I'm a millennial.
Right.
And so it's been an up and down journey, and it's still continuing. I feel like this is just one part of the journey. And I don't. This is not a stopping point for me. This is just a piece of where I'm at. And being in this career, whether you're a neutral or a practicing attorney or both, it isn't for the weak or thin skin, because you are going to get a lot of no's, you're going to get a lot of rejections, you're going to get a lot of pushback. You're not going to get promoted. You're not going to get recognized a lot. And you have to realize that some of those things or those superficial things do not actually define who you are. It doesn't mean that you aren't doing your best or at your best. So it took a while for me to realize that, and to know that I'm only in competition with myself, meaning I'm continuously daily pushing myself to be better and be a better version of myself.
Oh yeah, it's like taking a test or a marathon, and sometimes you don't realize it. And so not only the legal career, because we three lawyers here speaking, but any career, or even and during our student journey, we compete against ourselves. It's not against the next person there that sounds that prepare better than me for this test, or looks that he or she has a internship or a job opportunity, or even a summer camp, more prestigious than mine. It's of course there are opportunities for specific moments and background, as mentioned before here, background and where we come from is also add to that. But that's an interesting point about the process. What I hear is that the process, the belonging is the process too. And Ms. Ashley, join us.
Right. So I would agree. I think belonging, you get the balance of belonging and assurance in yourself during the process of like understanding your purpose and where you're going with your career and your life, and what are your missions and what are your causes. And so I would absolutely agree that it's the process that helps define that and helps develops that in our lives individually, because I know that has definitely been my story. And then as far as my career as it relates to ADR, ADR has become a part of my practice. In a sense, okay, if you need ADR mediation services, of course it's available, but it's also a skill that I've developed that you use that just helps relieve conflict in everyday life, right? And most definitely in my practice. So, there's things that we use and that we apply, to make people feel more comfortable and more satisfied with the outcome. And so like those are the things that I've learned through mediation and ADR that I just apply to everyday law practice, no matter what area of law as a general practitioner, but then also in my daily life as well, and feeling and to help bring the balance in my life, to make sure that it's a win-win, and also understanding both perspectives and evaluating what's the best solution for both parties. But so that's how ADR has affected my life and my experience as a mediator in my practice. I use it every day, whether I'm sitting down in a caucus or a mediation setting or not. And how long did it take to achieve? I think it's an ongoing, never ending fluid process. I think every single day, I think we're still striving to understand more of what our purpose is. How can we better achieve our purpose with the short amount of time? What shortcuts can we take? Are there shortcuts? Do you have to take the long way? So I think it's a lifelong process. But I will say that, especially to the audience who's listening, I think it's constant pivots that we have to do. And I think that's the win. That's where you win in your career, when you have the ability to change and pivot. You have your focus, and sometimes your purpose and your focus may change during the process, but when you have the ability to pivot and just take life as it comes, I think that has been a key thing that I've learned that has allowed me to succeed. And then also having patience to wait on the balance or victory or the win or whatever it is that you're waiting on, having the patience to know that it's not a right now thing. And sometimes it may take longer than you expect, but if you're diligent at it and you're moving with purpose, you're moving with, you're not just walking, but you're walking in purpose, and you're taking strides that are chips away at the old block. I think that's the process of getting to a sense of belonging, a sense of feeling known, a sense of positive interaction and supportiveness. I think that would be my take on that.
Absolutely. Basically, it's the poker face. Be patient. Practice your poker face.
Right. Right. And trust the process.
Yes. Yes. And about this, so please share with us a situation or experience or even case where the lack or presence of belonging impact its outcome, and how.
I would say the lack of presence of belonging, like in this, I know I'm applying this to me, and I'm also applying it to my clients, my mediation clients as well. I would say that, there's a situation, and I'll just share experience. Like I remember being in court, and part of mediation we learned is allowing both people to feel a win-win, right? Because they have control of the outcome. And so, and in understanding that, one of my mentors, who's like a great mediator in our community and very well respected, but, part of feeling belonging for our clients and including ourselves, because we're all human as well, although sometimes, we're in a leadership role and maybe we're directing and guiding these interactions and leading them in advocacy. It's also a part of feeling heard. So like I remember in court, the plaintiff lost, but there was still something that she had to say or had to get out. And I've been in a lot of courtrooms, and a lot of judges would have said, the verdict is the verdict. I don't want to hear it. Take care. Have a nice afternoon, ma'am, or shut her down. I've seen it happen. But this particular judge, my mentor, he stopped, and she lost, but she still had something to say. And he gave her the floor for, let's say, 2 to 3 minutes. And she just poured out her heart, expressed what she was feeling, and maybe her why of pursuing someone and civilly, in a legal case, in a legal matter, just expressed her thought and her feeling. And, for some people may have felt like it was a waste of time. Here she is just venting to us, right, in the courtroom. But talking to my mentor, I understood it, is that she felt heard at that moment. And feeling heard, the verdict may not have been in her favor, but she still felt more satisfied with the outcome because she had those 2 minutes to express her why, her feelings, how it has changed her life. And I think in that, that was a sense of relief and feeling belonging, right? Not just kind of pushed in a corner to just accept whatever the outcome is, but she also felt heard. And I think that kind of changed, that changed a lot. That changed a lot for her. It definitely changed how I started my career. But I think that's a situation on how, has impacted individuals. And of course, in my career, I took that. It's oftentimes it's about feeling heard for my clients, but then also for me. Sometimes I just want to vent. Sometimes I just want to talk. Sometimes I just want you to know how I feel or how I was made to feel, whether it's professionally amongst our colleagues, and how something may have been perceived, whether it was their intent or not. I think that's important, just to kind of express, hey, I received this. And sometimes you realize it's not even their intent, but you feel heard and you feel like you spoke up for yourself in that time. So
yes, absolutely. Is empowering the person and
yes.
like showing that I see you.
Yeah.
And Sunnita,
I would say it's a case. It was mine is a case as well, and it's kind of stuck with me because it bothered me because I felt like even with all the evidence we had from my clients who were the defendants, I felt like we did not get the proper justice because it was in a courtroom in a county where I felt like the opposing counsel frequented that county in that courtroom and was, I guess, I want to say, basically more known by that in that judicial circuit. And it was apparent by some of the correspondence and the way we were communicated with and the way the actual hearing went. It just made me feel like I even tried to file like an MFR and appeal because I just really felt bad for my clients because it was clear that the plaintiff had, scammed them out of their money. And it just, for them to get no recourse. And I just felt, honestly, I still do feel to this day that it was due to that opposing counsel, I guess you could say, belonging or being a part of that particular county and courtroom as far as, actually knowing the staff, the judges, clerk, etc.
I hear the environment too counts, correct? Not only the environment, not the process and the environment.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, I don't practice litigation anymore, but that was when I did. And some people have an actual, county where they live or counties where they frequent, so they know the staff, the judge. Like I've gone into courtrooms all the time, and the judge will be like, "Hey, such and such," or "Hey, how are you? I'll let you go first. I know you got to go to," et cetera, et cetera. Like they have a relationship because they frequent them so often, as a litigator, which is one of the reasons why. That's a whole nother story, but why I don't practice litigation anymore.
Why? Sorry. Could you repeat again? Why?
I said that's one of the reasons I don't practice litigation anymore, but that's a whole other story for another day.
So that's another I say another bar conversation, when you have a table and all the refreshments. Right. The bar conversation, why and how you came to the ADR profession. And now a word from our partners.
Next Level Mediation Software is a mediator's best tool for advancing their online dispute resolution practice. It takes into account the psychological attitudes of the disputing parties and helps mediators find the key priorities to negotiate. Based on decision science and an easy-to-use interface, the Next Level Mediation platform can handle the most complex disputes. Register today at nextlevelmediation.com for your complimentary 30-day trial of the subscription service and enter the code ABA discount 20 for a 20% discount.
But about that, what is your advice for those looking to experience the feeling of belonging in the ADR practices or their career, generally speaking?
I'll go since Sunnita just finished. So I would say, generally speaking, I think we have to realize, although sometimes we are the leaders in these conversations, right? We're the neutral. I think it's important to know for our clients that, put ourselves and our clients in understand that we're all human, we're human beings and we have similar feelings. And so a lot of times you put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from and why what their reasons are for the dispute that they may be experiencing as humans, and just understand that neutrally. I think that's one of the first things is to put yourself in their shoes. And when you're a neutral, you have to do that for both parties so that it's fair, right? This is how he may be experiencing, or this is what he may be experiencing. And then, as mediators of color, of women of color, we bring that extra experience and understanding that's unique that some of our male counterparts will never understand. And so use that to our advantage, our experiences in life, the things that we've experienced, the things that we've gone through, the things that we know that works, the things that we know that fails, the things that we understand about our culture as women of color, right? As Black women, or just as women. Use all that to your advantage, because that is your advantage. A lot of times when you're selected as a mediator, that's the reason why, because you relate to the parties and they feel like you're the best person to manage this dispute. And so use that to your advantage, and your understanding to make sure that your clients feel known and heard because of, maybe you share something similar. And so that would be something that I would say that's important in developing your practice. And as one of the things too, a lot of times mediations is selected, by a bio or by referral, like all the things that makes you unique, that stands out. Maybe you're part of an organization that's unique for women, or maybe you're part of an organization that's really unique to your nationality. Maybe you're from the continent of Africa. Like, make sure you list that, because that's how people identify with you and select you as the best person for the job. And that's what everyone's looking for, the best person to help settle this dispute. So that's general advice for practice. But I'd also say in the ADR industry field, is feeling belonging, is feeling the feeling of sense of belonging, the same. Stand out for your truth. Understand your truth and who you are, your ethnicity, your background, your culture, your experience, and be bold about it, because it's something to be proud about, because you stand out. Like I said, even in that, I think a lot of times we feel confined, that we have to confine and align with the masses, and that's not it. I think, like I was saying earlier, people hire and they attach to and they affiliate people that they identify with. So whatever that is, even in ADR, within the industry, whatever your truth is and whatever your reality is, own it and be your full authentic self in your industry. And it's not about who accepts you, or it's not about, part of this conversation is diversity, equity, inclusion, but it's also belonging. Yeah. And so it's not about, you see diversity. So you walk into a room and, there's diversity. There's a mix of, it's co-ed, men and women, people of different nationalities, people of different ethnicities. So that's the diversity. And then, you talked about inclusion, right? So just being included in the conversation, but feeling belonging is feeling like your voice is actually being heard and actually valued, and feeling known. So I would lead with that. And I'm going to stop there, but owning your truth, owning your reality, and being proud about it, because that's exactly who you are, and realizing that it's not about pleasing the masses. It's not in your industry, or even amongst your clients. It's about finding what your niche is, finding who you are, and just going hard in that, and moving forward in that.
Absolutely. I would like to add something about that.
Yes.
Because we are here. Today I'm your host, and we have two amazing guest speakers. And we have three Black ladies from different nationalities, different faith. Beside if may I add, so two Black Jewish ladies, and we combine together here in ADR, and to show that we can speak about diversity, inclusion, and belonging and equity, and the way that our background, our what make us connect is what make us powerful and more capable to add to the ADR field. This is my personal point of view, but I really appreciate the contribution and both of you thoughts and time to speak about that, because sometimes when you speak about belonging, we only think about race or culture or religion and or specific law school, specific for example, field inside another field. But the beautiful is that we have our experience, and to come together, say, yeah, find your peers. What I hear, Ms. Ashley, is honor who you are, find your peers, and that we met together in a group at BISLA, and now I invite Sunnita for our final advice.
So I feel like it's okay if you have a feeling of not belonging, because sometimes not belonging brings out a better version of yourself and it makes you unique. Yeah. But also, I want people to trust that feeling, because if you feel as though you don't have any connection, or you aren't being embraced by your colleagues or your superiors or your clients, either carve your own way or find another niche, because life's too short to stay somewhere and consistently feel unhappy or you don't. And just because you might have always wanted to be in a particular profession or career, it just may not work out all the time. You may have to go down a path that you didn't think you would have to go in.
I wanted to say, Sunnita, I think you hit on you dropped a gem, and I just want to elaborate on it a little bit more, because I think it's true as it relates to, sometimes we learn that rejection is redirection. And so sometimes if you may not feel that sense of belonging, maybe it's not aligned with your purpose. And I think that's exactly what you said. And I think it's true. Maybe you need to think about what other opportunities may be available for you or to you. And maybe it's just not aligned with your purpose. Now, of course, that's not everyone's situation, or that's not relevant to everyone. And sometimes you have to, work at it a little harder. But I think that's a good point, because I think sometimes we're in spaces that we're staying too long and it's not meant for us.
Yes, and that, Sunnita, is very interesting, because sometimes we believe that we are unable to deliver the best service, or we believe we are not a good fit for a position or for a case. Why? Because we don't feel that belonging. And I appreciate that you bring that it's okay. It's okay. That make us unique. So because I don't belong here, I can add my outsider point of view, and that's what make that process, that case, that roster even more special and more inclusive too, because we know we have who belong, who don't belong, but we are here to teamwork for the best for our client or for our association. And that's amazing. So I really appreciate. Thank you so much, ladies. It was my privilege. I have no words to express how special and grateful I feel to have in your time to share about your background, experience, and thoughts in our field, that is dispute resolution. Thank you for listening to Resolutions, a podcast about dispute resolution and prevention. If you enjoyed the episode and you'd like to help support our podcast, please share it with others, subscribe, or leave a rating and review. To stay up to date with all the latest info on dispute resolution, follow the ABA section of Dispute Resolution on LinkedIn. Follow the ABA of Dispute Resolution on LinkedIn. Follow the ABA section of Dispute Resolution on LinkedIn and Twitter. Or for more information on other ABA dispute resolution programs and publications, including upcoming events, visit www.americanbar.org/dispute. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.